Okay, first item on the agenda is the closed session portion of the meeting. May I have a mover and seconder to go into closed session under the authorities as printed in the agenda? Councillor Muir and Park. Okay, all in favor? All hands rising. Time being 6:30. You now move into closed session. Okay, the minutes of closed session portion of the minutes of the meeting on September 7th were approved in closed session. A brief conversation regarding personnel matters, items 1.3, and some potential litigation, item 1.4, were also discussed in closed session. Time being 7 p.m., I'd like to call this meeting to order. There are no amendments to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the agenda as circulated? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Motion is carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Seeing none. We have Johanna, Patrick, and Jeff from Ontario Clean Water Agency to present water wastewater operations. Welcome.
Sure. How's that? Okay, wonderful. Good evening, Your Worship, Council and Administration. It's my pleasure to be here with you this evening in person. Joining me is my colleague, Jeff St. Pierre, our Regional Manager with Aqua. We're here this evening to present two options for Council's consideration. I prepared a slide presentation on it and trust that you all have copies of it. Okay. So I will just go through it. The two items that we are bringing forward for your consideration this evening are an agreement change order for the new wastewater plant, as well as the strategic infrastructure planning project. The first couple of slides 3 through 5, I've listed the components of the current wastewater treatment facility, or the old one, as well as the new one, the new RBC treatment. And I did that for a couple of reasons. We're talking about a change order and a staffing increase to staffing. So I wanted to highlight the components of the previous wastewater plant, what was required for maintenance. As you can see from all the components, is essentially you're going from, as you likely well know, a primary treatment only to secondary, adding in secondary treatment. So there is quite a few added components. You're going to an RBC biological treatment, and you've got UV, and you can see there's quite a bit more equipment. So then on to slide 6. The reason that we're bringing forward for your consideration an increase to the staffing is because of the additional maintenance that will be required in the new facility. The reason we're bringing it to your attention for discussion tonight is the new wastewater plant, although not fully commissioned yet, Aqua is there on behalf of the township, operating and sampling and working alongside the team that is commissioning the new facility, with the anticipation that the handover will be imminent. So some of the responsibilities associated with the new wastewater plant is increased maintenance. And especially with a brand new facility, you want to make sure that the preventative maintenance is really kept up to date and well maintained. We want to have the new wastewater treatment plant last forever, or however long they last. It was a significant investment on behalf of the municipality and the funders. So some of the other responsibilities, there'll be increased lab sampling and sample collection, reporting and analysis, inspection of the process control equipment. That's listed in the previous 3 slides. So when we talk about bringing forth an increase in FTE, as you know, there are 2 operators here in Red Rock operating the facilities. We're not talking about bringing new people in. Under the current contract, we have 1.6 FTEs allocated. So nobody new is coming on. We've had 2 operating since we started. We're just bringing it up to the level that it is currently operating. So there's no new people coming in, it's just adding it in. And, you know, when we initially started discussing operations in Aqua and our partnership, when the new facility was going to be coming online wasn't known. This is going back quite a few years. So we wanted to wait until the time we were ready to have that discussion, and the requirement to have the 2 FTEs was here. Is there any questions? Okay. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Jeff?
No, but just, I mean, I was there for the initial presentation to council a while back. So I just, if I could maybe jog some memories and explain the 1.6 versus the 2.0 when it comes to FTEs and how we go about structuring that to make that happen. Our commitment to the township was 1.6 FTEs back when we started, if we brought on Aqua staff only, and needing 2 when the new plant came on, but having 2 immediately if one of those employees was going to be an existing township employee. Now that whole group, they decided no, that wasn't the direction they wanted to go in. So we said, okay, 1.6 Aqua FTEs it is, with the understanding that when the new plant was commissioned, the requirement would be for 2. How we do that is, when we hired Clark initially, he was still living in Terrace Bay. So it was very easy for us to say, okay, go work in Red Rock for 3 days a week and stay in Terrace Bay Schreiber for 2 days a week. Hence, with Dave Houston there full time, that's your 1.6 FTE. We quickly realized 1.6 wasn't going to cut it. That even the requirements early on before the commissioning of the sewage plant, 2 FTEs were necessary to get done what we needed to get done. But our commitment to the township was, you know what, if we can save you 0.4 of an FTE till this new plant is commissioned, we're certainly going to honor that. We're not going to come back to you and say, hey, we were wrong, we need 2. So we've been working with 2 FTEs since the onset. And now that we're commissioning the plant, the sewage plant, the requirement certainly will be there for the 2 FTEs to continue forward. So I don't want it to come across as this is you know, a few years later, hey, we're coming back saying we need more staffing. The bottom line is it is a requirement of just out of what is needed on a day-to-day basis. But certainly it's in the best interest of the operations and on a maintenance perspective. And although we're talking about a hefty sum of money, I believe it's in and around the $50,000 mark. That I want to be clear, that's not just labor. I mean, what comes with an FTE are all the equipment that comes along with it, the training, the vehicle. When we price these things, although we got a full vehicle there for 1 guy, we're really only charging 60% of it as it stands today. But when we go to 2 FTE, that other 40% of that vehicle comes with it. And same with training, same with uniforms, same with the whole 9 yards. So our early intentions were certainly to save the township where we could by doing this with 1.6. But like I say, we quickly realized we needed 2, but our commitment to the township was 1.6 until commissioning. I don't know if everyone remembers that presentation back there. It was one of the more interesting council meetings I had, actually. You guys had builders in there and then a couple of others that kind of lined right up to some of the things we were talking about. So it was, I remember like it was yesterday, but just, you know, when you get into these things, I just don't want council to feel that, you know what, hey, we're not honoring our commitment. We feel we did honor our commitment. And it's just at this point with the new plant coming on, we have to realize the 2.0 when it comes to FTEs.
Does anyone have any questions? Councilor Muir?
Yeah, no, hey Jeff, no, I do remember that conversation, but because we previously thought you were gonna do the 2 FTEs. That's what we were assuming. We were prepared to run with that right from the start. So yeah, that's That's 100% right. So
Yeah, thank you.
No other questions? And our plant is it's a level 3, right? Correct? Not level 2 like what Nipigon has or some surrounding area.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
And with that designation, that, what does that mean for the township?
The class 3
Right.
means that the level of license that the operations staff carry has to be at that level. So there's 4 levels to the certification, so it's quite high. And that means it can take a long time to have somebody trained to that level, because in order to advance to the next level, you have to have years of experience in addition to the courses that you have to take. So recruiting and maintaining that level of a license can be challenging. When you're looking at, so we have somebody, the aqua operator has the licensing level. As he gets older and maybe looks at retiring, it's certainly something that we'll be proactive about, and ensuring that we have somebody that's leveling up so that there's somebody that can step into that, because it does take, it's quite challenging to find. There's not a lot of wastewater treatment facilities that are at that level. So we also, I should mention, because we operate a number of facilities in and around the area, we do have additional staff that have that level of license nearby, and our management team as well. So
Yes, and you can operate at one licensing level below the classification of the plant. However, it's our goal to get everyone to the level 3.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
okay. On the next slide, I wanted to mention some of the other costs that you will be looking at for your new wastewater treatment plant. In the interest of trying to bring the most up-to-date relevant information and talking about it frequently, so that council feels well informed about this process as we commission and then take over the new wastewater plant. So the new wastewater facility will require additional chemical sampling requirements and sludge hauling services that weren't previously captured with the former facility. The costs for the new operational requirements can take up to 12 months to really be able to accurately assess and give you a forecast for. So Aqua is certainly willing, we wouldn't want to put forth a forecast now. There's going to be increased sampling and chemical use to commission a facility, more so than what you would use when operations are running very smoothly. So during this period, we'd like to track it, recoup the cost for that through either their direct bill to the municipality, or they come through us and we flow through, and then do some analysis and real comparison so we can give you an accurate forecast that you can then plan for the next 10 years. And as we get closer, we'll, and in our quarterly reporting, we'll be sure to note a lot of that in there, so you can stay up to date with how that's going. So the second item that we wanted to bring to council for consideration is the strategic infrastructure planning. When we originally started discussing the agreement, council was in favor of having the strategic infrastructure planning aspect of the agreement added in. And what this is it's an interest-free loan that the township can use over the course of the length of their agreement to purchase engineering services. So if something comes up, and engineering costs can be expensive, if you're paying for it all in one shot, but this amount was set aside that it's paid for monthly over the course of 10 years. So when you need it, it's there. And in the last couple of months, your municipal drinking water license was up for renewal, and a component of that requirement was to have a financial plan and a rate study completed, which Aqua completed on your behalf. So we haven't kicked in, for lack of a better word, this payment to your agreement. We wanted to wait to see when you were going to start utilizing it. So I thought that it would be timely to again have that question or that option for you. And the option is, do you want to proceed with having the strategic infrastructure plan tacked on the 23,500, or did you want to pay for the financial plan and the rate study just on their own as a direct payment for those services? Originally, our estimate for the rate study and financial plan was the 23,500. That's why we came to that amount, but we were actually able to do it for 13,500. So there's some savings there. And that means that if you did want to take advantage of the SIP program, I'm going to say SIP because it's a long word, but you still have, $10,000 that you could use for engineering services, and it's already paid for over the length of your contract. For example, your financial plan in 5 years, when your municipal drinking water license comes up again, it's something that you don't have to sort of put that money aside for in budget because it's already there for you to use. Is there any questions about the SIP project? Okay.
I'm assuming that's something we'll discuss. That doesn't have to be decided tonight. I'm assuming that's something that will be discussed like that's,
Well,
or does
it
this
will
have to be known tonight?
We thought that actually they're looking for the resolution. So what we discussed.
Sorry, we will make a decision tonight and pass by resolution and or amended bylaw at the next meeting. So it's definitely something we discussed. It's definitely something I would recommend on the SIP program. It is as explained. It's an interest-free loan. We will have to go through this process again in 5 years. We are directly paying one way or the other now $13,500 for the rate study. So we either have to take that money and pay it from the municipality or take advantage of this. So my recommendation would be to go that way. And then what we do, we will pass those both decisions and I will pass it. We'll put a resolution together for our next council meeting. Yes. Yeah.
Any other questions? Rafa? No?
Okay.
Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Good night.
Okay, the minutes of the last regular meeting, September 7th, are on items 5.1 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the open session minutes? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the open session minutes at items 5.1? Perkins. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, next item is 6.1. The table citing resolutions circulated by other municipalities. Are there any matters any members of the council would like to wish pulled and brought back to the next meeting?
I would just like to ask that can we go back to the way we had it before when we had the information put in the packages instead of the summaries?
I guess I could look at that. When I came in, this is how it was. So I'd have to go back and look. I can talk to Whitney about that in the morning, though, for sure.
Okay.
But this is when I came. That's how it was.
Yes.
It was being done. That's what I thought was.
It was-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. We'll make a note on that.
I think it's just easier to make a decision, but I think all of them we should support.
Okay, so administration will come back and we'll bring all of the all of the resolutions brought forward. I'm not sure that we need to read every resolution that comes out because that's the practice we did before. So that was the reason why, right? So sometimes, before we've had 12. But some people do like, right, so that was the reason why it was broken down like this, so you could see, but we will bring it forward and we'll get that straightened out.
Is an alternate way to request that information outside of the agenda?
No, it'll be brought forward, it's just, we'll just make note that I'm not gonna read read it for verbatim. Okay, item 6.2 is a letter from Jim Dampier relating to the potential removing of electrical steel plugs in the rail outside of the mill gate. Do members of council have questions? It was a very straightforward letter, what he was requesting. Councilor Mayor.
Yeah, so I'm looking at that. Is this something that maybe we should advertise and put out to a tender, in case anybody else had interest? Or,
Well, the letter came into council, so that's why I put it on. I mean, it's kind of out there how council would like to deal with that issue. What would happen is if this was the case, we could deem that surplus and sell it this way, but it could certainly be handled that way as well. I don't know how much other interest there would be in that, but a lot of the infrastructure there is actually gone as we speak. It's been taken from the property. Blair and I kind of had a good look at that today. So again, it's one of those things where there's a correspondence to council. It comes to you. You can make those decisions. But yeah, I guess you could advertise that if that was something that.
Is that actually town property?
Yeah. So what he's speaking of here, and we cleared that today because there was some confusion around a secondary agreement around rail going in, but this is township property, so it's the parking lot outside of the mill fence. So what you will see if you were up there was basically some railings with plug-ins at them. So what Mr. Dampier is looking for is just to clean up that property, take any of the electrical and any of the steel components, and that was his request. So it is township. This is township property outside the main gate in the parking lot.
Councilor Mayor.
yes, I think being township property, I think it definitely should be put out to the public in some sort of a bidding scenario, possibly, because we don't know what the value is, right? So just to be safe and transparent, just let everyone know. I don't know if you can put a call out, put something in the local gazette or online, just submit bids.
Okay, I agree 100%, but are we actually at that stage? Like, I think it's a bit premature, don't you think?
I don't know. I haven't even seen the property. I'm just assuming if someone's wanting to pay a sum of money for municipal property, that it should be kind of offered. That's just my thought. It's not like we had advertised and said, here, give us a thing. So nobody knew about it. Possibly somebody was looking at it, thought, well, I better not ask,
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
Okay, so I believe then council's direction is for administration to advertise for surplus. And see if anybody, right, there's a cost to that for us, but I mean, if anybody bids on that and if Mr. Dampier is still interested after. Okay. I don't have to read the resolution because we're not going to pass.
No, it
No.
was that, no, exactly.
just in
And that
case.
was more for if it did, or if we wanted to deem it surplus, but I
Right.
think we've got clear direction on advertising it. If that's the case, we would deem it surplus and sell it to, in that road. Yep.
Okay.
Again, we bring it to you because it's a request from a citizen, right? So.
Okay. Item 6.3, a letter from Laura Foltz, Festival Chair for Live from the Rock, relating to the fall outdoor live music rotation. Do members of council have any questions? Councillor McDonald?
My questions were just, I didn't know if there was anything extra that had to be done to the building to be open, or if we closed it. I wasn't sure on what the building policy was for here.
No, what their request would be is simply the showers and bathrooms for that weekend, as well as one room, preferably a room that they could just use simply, not for the general public, but more just for themselves and the musicians, just as that kind of little backstage room. So that was kind of where they were going with that. So no, I don't see any issue with opening the building at that time.
And like, because we haven't used like the kitchen area and stuff for a while, that's all still.
Yeah, they're not
Okay.
interested in that at all,
I thought it
into
says that.
the kitchen area at all. They're not looking at using anything. The room is more for just for
Oh.
their volunteers and gathering. That's it. They
Because it says if the restaurant seating area is available,
yeah.
if
So
there's fridge space.
that request, sorry, Councillor McDonald, that request is that's the room they would like to use as their gathering hub because it's accessible right there. So it's probably one of those things that we could just isolate that side. We may have to move some shelving temporarily for that day, but that was their request. They did make one request on a fridge. The fridge is no longer in that facility. They have their own that they said they can bring and use in that case. So they weren't looking for the restaurant area or the kitchen, but they would like that room because it does kind of make sense because it closes the rest of the building off. So that could be their little hub room. So that was kind of what they were looking for in that request.
Any other questions? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to approve usage of the marina building space and surrounding grounds free of charge to Live from the Rock for the heavy rotation music concert? Yep.
Just, so I know Live from the Rock every single year. You know, since I've been coming to Red Rock, it's been one of those festivals that keeps going and going, and it's a great festival. I'm a big supporter of Live from the Rock. What I'd like to see though is a possibility to hear from the rest of the residents, because the reality is it's the residents that are making donations to Live from the Rock going forward. I wouldn't mind for our public hall meeting having that on the agenda, having that specifically. Just comments, what they'd like to see, things of that nature, if they have any suggestions. Because it is the locals that are making that donation. So I think we should reach out to for decisions like this as well. Okay, so I support this at this time.
Okay, I'm going to read it again. Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to approve usage of the marina building space and surrounding grounds free of charge to Live from the Rock for the heavy rotation music concert? Councillor Mayor, Councillor McDonald. Council, okay. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, 7.1 is minutes from the Red Rock Public Library Board for its meeting on June 8th. Do members of council have any questions? As you know, the library is closed July and August, so that's why you don't see minutes from it. So it's from way back then. Library is open. There is a different, a few hour changes, but residents can go in the building. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the minutes? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, items 8.1 is a report from the Director of Operations. Oh. Call Mr. Westerman up. Do any members of council have questions of Mr. Westerman?
I had a question on bridge number 1. It says you and JML Engineering came up with a temporary solution. I'm just wondering, are they also going to be coming up with a long-term fix for that?
Probably not. A
No,
long-term fix would be a new bridge.
right.
Yeah, I met with John recently and a member of his staff, another engineer. So they did come up with a plan to address that bent that's pivoting, rolling out on the pilings. He did prepare a report, but it wasn't submitted to me in time to put it in, to submit it to you. So I'll have that for the next council meeting, but the long and short of it is the bent that's rotating. The bent is the horizontal timber on the pilings. Pilings are submerged, and so his idea is to encapsulate the whole bent and the pilings all in concrete so that it stops it from moving, and then probably remove earth from the backside of that bent and put it on the front side to keep it from sliding. He also thinks that it'd probably be a good idea to prepare for anchors. If it did show any sign of further movement, we can anchor it to the bank. So that's sort of what he explained. I'll include that letter in the next council meeting.
And that will have like costs and stuff associated with it. For a quote.
I mean, it's gonna cost somewhat,
Engineering
but
costs and construction, yeah.
it's better than some of the other alternatives. Like he understands the situation. He's trying to find the most economic resolution. He doesn't want to, he's trying to guard against putting a Band-Aid on it. And, 2 years down the road, we're doing something to address it again. He's trying to address it to that degree at least, but it's kind of a tricky situation.
Are there any other questions? Councillor Mayor?
So in that report, is he gonna specify what the reasoning for this? Like, is it the loads too heavy going over that bridge?
There's slope movement is what's going on. I don't know if you were able to view the pictures that I submitted a while back, but you can see how the slope is kicking out the pilings and it's causing that bent to rotate. It's actually damaging some of the piling tops. So, I mean, if we don't address it, the next time the bridge is inspected, that's going to be reflected in the report, and it's probably going to be recommended that the bridge load be reduced significantly, like to a point where we're not getting groceries delivered or something like that. So it's pretty important that we address it.
Are there any other questions, Mr. Weston? Councillor Mayor?
Did they give you a ballpark for the cost of a new bridge? Have we got that cost estimate?
Well, no, it's not that easy. First, you have to determine what kind of bridge, right? And then where is it gonna go? We already know we have poor ground in the community, right? We're full of clay. So yeah, there's a lot of things to consider. Like for him to just throw a number out there would be pretty difficult. I can throw a number out there.
Yeah, but being
7
an,
million.
yeah, but being an engineer, he's, can do a quick study and say and determine, here's a bridge that you need, here's an area, right? We should
Yeah, I'm
maybe
just
look at
saying, there's a
that.
lot of factors to consider for him to even throw a ballpark number at you.
No, not a ballpark, an actual start planning number. Because if this fix doesn't work, well, then we're behind the ball. We should, if we're going to be looking at these repairs, we should be looking at what's this replacement cost? Let's start planning for this.
Yeah, I think he's been recommending that for a while. For starting to plan for replacement.
Then I support that. We should be looking at that now for sure.
Okay, are there any other questions on the report? Seeing none, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the minutes?
Are we gonna get going on them planning something? Are we able to have a presentation discussion with the engineer coming in? Get a
I don't know
timeline?
if he's prepared to do that. I can ask him, but
All right.
I'll start with the letter. And I wish I could have had it. He just submitted it like a day late, so I couldn't include it with my report.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to receive the minutes? Councillor Park. Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thanks, Blair. Report 8.2 is from the fire chief. Do members of council have questions of Mr. Petrie? Good evening, Ryan.
Good evening.
I had some concerns from the environmental committee, but we haven't sent in our stuff yet. So should I say that for the next meeting or talk about?
So
that
what
now?
were you, anything about to do with his report?
Well, it would have to do with training. that he's doing.
But training in this report?
Well, it doesn't specify in the report what training is done.
Because there's no training in the months of July or August.
Right, so bring it up at the environmental.
You could,
For your next meeting, when those, okay. Sorry.
no, that's all. Are there any other questions? I see they're helping out EMS of it, so greatly appreciated. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to appoint Cale Applevis as a probationary firefighter effective September 23rd, 2021, and further a motion to receive the report? Councilor McDonald. Councilor Neer. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. So we had no questions. It's over summer, so there's really not much to discuss. Okay, report 8.3 is from the Community Development Officer. Ms. Davis is not here tonight, but maybe Mark can answer any questions. Does anyone have any questions on her report? Councilor Mayor?
Do we have any of the recreation rehab information available yet? Financing and all that breakdowns?
I can certainly get you that answer, but the short answer of it is there is a lot of changes, not to the funding source, but some to the delays in those funding pieces and extensions as we work through that. But I can certainly get Ashley to put that together for you. I mean, she's been working kind of temporary for the last little bit. So I could certainly get her though to put some of those timelines together. Just ask for a little bit of patience with that with her right now, but I'm sure she could put that detailed report together for you.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor Perk. Councillor Muir. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, item 8.4 is report of administrative activity. Do members of council have questions of Mr. Ficamini?
I had more of just a comment on the SAGE report. If maybe we can start throwing that into some stuff that you're looking at. You know, like pick a topic once a month or something, just to get that ball rolling. That's it.
Any other questions on his report? There is a meeting, SNEM's master plan discussions, October 5th. There is room for one counselor, if one would like to attend. It's 2 to 4:30, I believe.
I believe it is 2 to 4:30. I could confirm, yes.
If somebody wishes or they're able to
Nipigon, it'll
go.
be in Nipigon.
October 5th. If somebody can attend, just let Mark know.
I think it's 2, they were going to confirm that 100%, but I believe it is 2 to 4:30 or 2:30 to 4. It's one of those two, but I can certainly confirm. It's right in that time anyway. I believe it's 2 to 4:30. It will be in Nipigon.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor Park. Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Motion is carried. Eight point 5 is the payment vouchers for general operations, community checking account, and payroll. Do members of council have questions of administration?
I just have a question. I really don't know what any of this means because it's all just numbers and amounts. So do we just approve and
Well,
assume?
yeah, what we have here is a kind of a backlog of cleanup. So this should happen every 2 weeks at this point. So basically coming out of the transition, this was something that hasn't, as you can see, hasn't happened since the 17th of March. So it's something we should do and catch up on. So what you see here is numbers to approve. I see what you're saying, it is, but it's something that, like I said, we're going back to March. We do have this as public documents as well, that are there for viewing. So what you're seeing is a general summary and I guess a catch-up process that's going back, something that should have been done and was done quite regularly in the past. The transition between CAOs and then coming in and then having to be able to put this report back together. It did take a bit of time going back that many months, but
I think my question is more towards, so I understand like it'll be done every 2 weeks-ish now, and so there won't be as many items on there, but how do we know what check 4158 is actually for? Do you know what I mean? is that stuff that you don't normally do or disclose to the public? Or? I'm not really sure.
No, I mean, we're transparent on all of that. It is something that council just approves, standard like this, by this number, but it also can be approved in a different manner if that's how council requested that. It could be summarized that way as well. And it is certainly a public document that we do put out. There is copies in the municipality as well. So what you are passing here, you're absolutely correct, is just some numbers. So it would be council's decision on how they would pass that.
So you're aware I go in and I have to sign to all of the checks for approval. So I see I have to go through all the receipts and sign off on them.
Okay.
Okay, just so you're aware that somebody at this table is aware what the payments are.
Okay. That's right. Trust in.
Yeah. We do have.
Right, well, I mean, you're
We
getting.
do have two.
No,
I actually view and sign off as well as the mayor on all of this as well.
Okay.
So it is a day-to-day operation, but again, it is.
I don't think it's of a trust issue. I think it's more of just notifying everybody. Like, really, this huge amount of money goes towards, maybe people don't realize what we pay for certain,
I
monthly
don't
costs
realize what
or-
we're paying though by looking at this. So, you know what I mean? This needs way more detail. Even going back on this now, because the check numbers, there's 15 of them, could be a $10,000 check to who knows where. So I mean, and then we sign off on it. Yeah, we need more detail, I think, for sure.
Okay, so direction to administration would be we'll look at a new format, which is easier for council.
Even just a general,
Right,
one word,
sure.
just something.
I don't believe you'll get one word for each individual check, but what the account is for,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like electronic fund transfers. That's a lot of people have signed up now for e-transfer services, right? So those are,
Right. So that
Right.
wouldn't need.
right, but general could be, staples, it could be all of those types of things. So administration will look at a way of trying to present it a little easier on the eyes. Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the payment vouchers in the amount of $4,071,717.57? What am I doing? Oh, it's this one. Sorry, Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? 3, 1 against. Motion is carried. There we go. Okay, item 8.6, information and direction. It relates to the new federal statutory holiday, Day of Reconciliation of September 30th, 2021. Do members of council have any questions of administration?
My question is, I thought that aren't stat holidays mandatory? Like, how do we even decide? I thought it was.
So that's exactly why we have this in front. They are this is a federal statutory holiday, and it's so it isn't governed by the municipal or provincial legislation. So and it is not part of the collective agreement in Red Rock. So it's one of those ones that we aren't mandated under federal law to accept as a statutory holiday. So what most and lots of municipalities are implementing this holiday based on collective agreements. Others are implemented based on direction of council. So that's the nuts and bolts answer. It isn't one supported by the province at this time, and we are governed in that manner. So what we're looking to do is make it, is to support the federal government based on a municipal resolution.
Are there any other questions? Councillor Muir?
Yeah, I think the answer to this question is in the collective agreements myself. That's where there were negotiated documents that's where this would lie in my opinion.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to implement September 30th as a statutory holiday for all staff within the Township of Red Rock for the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation? Seeing none? Oh, seeing one. Are you against? Okay. Oops.
So what was that?
It did not carry. The motion failed. Okay, item 8.7 is for discussion. It relates to the request from Councillor Muir to be added to the agenda. Do members of council have questions of Councillor Muir or administration?
Do we have a date for the municipal audit to have BDO come and do a presentation?
Just waiting to solidify and hear back from them on that date, but
Okay.
it should be very soon. I've tossed the idea around to them and looking at council as having a special meeting dedicated just to the budget or just to the audit, sorry.
I agree.
But again, we're just trying to tie all that up. It's very close. I'm sure we could be able to schedule that meeting within the next couple of days.
Okay.
Not the meeting in the next couple of days, but the scheduling of the meeting in the next couple of days.
I would support it being a separate meeting for sure and not during a council meeting.
Yeah, one of my thoughts too with the municipal audit is that we get that document at least a week in advance versus like 3 or 4 days, just a full week to digest what's in there. But like I put the progress report for the action plan into C2 because I know I've made, I think it's 3 requests now to actually see a demo physically so we can actually get a look. We've got the technology up here that we can get them to pull up and just show us screenshots of how the assets are working. I understand you're meeting bi-weekly, but I haven't seen anything. I'd like to really see something on that. Are we able to set that up?
Yeah, so I talked with them Thursday, I believe, and I did ask them for a timeline for council in that case. That situation was one that we were way behind on again. So we're moving through that process. What they told me is they should and they will have all of our documents ready and by October. So very shortly at that point, I do have meetings with them again coming up this week for about 3 or 4 hours that include Ontario Clean Water. So that'll hopefully tie that up. At which point then in late November, December, what we do is we move into a training piece of that funding for the staff. And the funding source for this project actually expires December 31st. So usually this is a process that will take almost a year. We've did our best to condense it to meet the funding requirements. And so the best answer they could give me in this is that we will have something to at least show council where this is into October.
Yeah, because that ties into my question about the maintenance plan.
Yes.
And I guess that's incorporated in, but I mean, the reality is a maintenance plan can be set up now. Because assets are already there, right? this building, for example, we know the furnace, we know the year, manufacturer specs, you do it, boom, it's done. So the preventive maintenance and everything can be done ahead of time.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It is tied into the asset management plan with a lot of that around some of our major assets, as well as even to our smaller, what you'd call smaller assets, right into our vehicles. So I think it's at this point beneficial to see what if we're looking at October now, but to waiting and seeing and tying it all together, but and seeing where that goes. But definitely don't disagree with you on assets and how we manage those and prioritizing and maintaining those and making sure that we protect our assets for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, this is super important, this maintenance plan, because next on the agenda is the ice in the rink.
Right.
So we've got to have a maintenance plan in place, you know. So I really like some emphasis on that if we could.
And like I said, hopefully that project ties up very soon here. And like I said, I spoke with them about council's interest in seeing more of the documents, and once we tie that together, so we should see that very shortly.
Okay, are there any other questions?
I just have a question on the financial treasurer. So was the plan to move forward with a company to do that, or an individual, like putting out a job description? I think we talked about a company, was it not?
Well, we did have discussions with, sorry, I'm echoing here, with a couple of different companies on that issue. What I think we found ourselves in is an honest and extreme situation of catch up, and I think that's kind of still where we find ourselves for hopefully not much longer, but and then moving into a full-time plan, because the plan that the action that we took to fill the void right now is working well, but it is a short-term solution. I mean, we don't want to keep her working when she doesn't want to be working, but she's given us a hand. So what we will do is we have had those discussions. We're also have had some further discussions on some sharing of duties, as well as where we move if that's an individual as well. So I think we have to get there. I don't think it's. I think we're struggling through where we are right now, but it's definitely high on the priority list as a plan as well.
So by sharing duties, you mean in-house? Just
No, we've had initial general discussions even with neighboring municipalities on the possibility of sharing in that role, albeit very initial discussions, but the discussions are happening. So in saying that, I guess we do need a solid master plan moving. It's kind of hard for myself as a brand new CAO coming in and trying to just piece the whole puzzle together. I guess you're kind of looking for a little bit more time, whether that's a few months to kind of. It's been a tough catch up. There's been a lot of catch up work to do, and I mean the best possible solution. I think the best possible plan of attack and the best possible solution was exactly what I implemented, and it's really got us back to where we have to be right now. So,
Okay, Councilor Mayor.
Why don't we post for an account? We can post and start fishing.
to post for an accountant?
Post a job. We've advertised for it previously. We can advertise for an accounting position again. It costs nothing to minimal to put out a job advertisement, and we have that. Why are we not looking in the open market and see what we can get?
Yeah, I guess that could be an option for sure.
Are there any other questions?
Do we have to put a motion in to post for an accountant or?
Well,
Are you asking?
Yeah, like to be, I would like to see it that post for an accountant. If we need an account, let's post for one. See what happens in the meantime and go from there. Because I think we're almost a month now without one. So the plan back in August, the discussion was there was plans in place. So this might help expedite that.
Well, I mean, I think there's some long-term plans there for sure. I'm not concerned about the day-to-day operations at the moment. If council directs us or myself as administration and wants to take care of that hiring process, then I think direct me to bring in a chartered accountant. But I don't know if that's the ultimate solution at this moment, even from a financial point. But again, I take direction from council. I'm happy with where we are right now. I'm happy with trying to piece my way through trying to figure the situation out. But again, I will take direction from council.
So Mark, are you asking us for a bit more time so you can sort of feel out the situation and see where the needs are in the office? Like, I guess we would really take the recommendation from you because you're the one that knows the daily operations and where we need that extra help. So
yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm asking. I don't want to go back into the history of the last few years or where we were, but I certainly don't think 4 months is enough time to assess where we have to go in the future. I don't know. I mean, it was a bit of a challenge even into the first 2 months from a financial piece. That I've been clear on that. Obviously, the day-to-day operations of the township are the role of the CAO, and I think my decision or to put us in the best possible place we could be. It's going to take a little bit more time than 4 months from a budget point of view, as well as in assessing exactly where we are on each department. What I can be clear on again is we are in a good position right now on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, there's no bylaws to pass at this meeting. There's no new business to review at this meeting. Next matter is 11.1, direction from council. Does council have any questions of administration? And this is to deal with the arena ice. Councilor Mayor.
Yeah, you're gonna have to walk me through that, the 15 to 20,000 to install the ice for the season.
Yep.
So that 15, is that labor cost as well?
No, we haven't included labor costs in there because the labor costs are fixed.
How are they fixed? Isn't that extra duties?
Extra duties in the manpower in the arena.
Yeah, you would have extra staffing for the arena, yeah?
No, we don't see that being an issue where we would have extra staffing in the arena. What we see in Red Rock is obviously a multi-use facility. So when we actually did a pretty detailed study on it, we did not include labor as part of that. We did not include revenue as part of that. So we basically took the fixed costs to the best of our ability, considering there's actually 1 meter for the building. And we isolated those costs to generally the installation and maintenance of the arena, of the ice surface for that period of time. Further study, we did find that we could find funding for that through a COVID Safe Start program that is available this year. what it is a funding source that's there for municipalities to have exactly that, a safe restart, and provide the services to the citizens that they had pre-COVID. So it is a year where that funding could be used in this case. If we didn't use it for recreation or safe restart, we definitely would have to find some kind of a use for that funding and report on it that way. But this is a piece that we see bidding and one that we could use this funding for.
Okay, I just remind council that this is part of the workplace, right? So the summary was brought to you by the CAO and they did the costing on that. That is
The
their,
summary is right
that
here.
is-
There's
that
no
is
cost
their-
estimates. This is just a piece of
that is
paper
their
with
job.
numbers on it.
Excuse me, Councillor Muir. It is their job to do all the legwork and provide you with the summary. And this is the summary of what they've done. I'm not sure why anyone would need the breakdown of day to day when it wasn't even known to some that, you know, the labor costs were factored in because they're working that day and doing that type of work. So I'm going to bring the motion forward unless somebody else has more questions.
I just have a tiny question and it's about the locker room. Like is it both locker rooms that the heat isn't working in?
Yeah, sorry, I should have addressed that as well. So the plan is, I mean, we would not use those two rooms under this current structure. So none of those costs are included. We are able, if there was a tournament or some games that were needed, we are able, with speaking with Blair, to lay a rubber mat down and take use of the storage facilities or the locker rooms on the other side. So that does not include that. That's basically, like I said, and those costs are simply paint, having the ice installed, your gas, your hydro, your certifications on your ice plant startup, propane, those kind of issues. It is a different situation than, say, I'm even used to in the past with having a multi-use facility. When you do look at the study, it does show that plus Red Rock is notoriously a cold arena as well. So the cost there, and we're saying that cost could be anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. And again, that doesn't we don't have the number offset by any revenue, but the last time the arena was functional, we did show a revenue just in usership fee of the arena alone about $5,400. So, I mean, if that was the same, you're looking at those type of costs.
So
And,
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, maybe if, you know, as the rec director is promoting the ice and stuff, maybe if she would just have a blurb or something that the, you know, change rooms will not be operational, there'll be an alternative area or something.
Yeah, and that is dressing room 1 and 2, which is down at the far end. Yeah.
And again, these numbers are I mean, my job is to give you the best accurate information. I'm going to try to give you the best accurate information, and never would I give you what knowingly is false information. This is the study that we performed on these costs, and that's what I've presented to you.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to operate the arena ice from November 2021 to the end of February 2022? Councilor Park, Councilor McDonald. All in favor? Councilor Muir against.
I'll just state
Motion
that,
is carried.
I'll just state that my vote is not being voted on tonight because even though I do support having the arena ice, I'd like a little more detail for decisions I'll be making. That's my request.
Okay, item 11.1 from the direction of session. Sorry. Okay, as the time is now 8:10 and there is no further business to it. Oh, I gotta pass this. A resolution 2021 -1251 to confirm the proceedings of this council meeting held on September 2021 be passed as circulated. Is there a mover and seconder? Which gives direction to council or administration to conduct business detailing from tonight's meeting. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, sorry about that. Meeting time being 8:10. There's no further business to attend to. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.